the thunder as Melody is left with 1 HP and very little utility. And I mean, staying a running gun, it might not do the most damage, but it'll get the flawless on a 1 HP individual.
Yeah, I mean, look at that, 8-6. They're expected to take that round with the guns they had. But here we go. Look at this. Avail, ready. They have some stingers. They have some specters, a bulldog, and a phantom in the hands of Max. Once again from last round, didn't really lose much from last round. On the other side, Mystic trying to force a buy, and I would argue that they really, either Vader or maybe Mox, need to push him very aggressive, which they're doing here. They need to take the gun from Mox and give it to Melody. And oh, never mind, Melody's gonna get a judge. And look at this aggressive push towards Ram as Max and XVR are gonna take complete heaven control.
5-player assist on the Melody. The entire team making contact there. I saw that. A full, true team effort to assert dominance into A Heaven. But I mean, they haven't addressed the Cypher on site. They haven't addressed the 2 players trying to funnel in from vents. And now even the Omen, even Sparka has arrived CT. And because of this cutting of noise, you can see them starting to rotate back, which is the wrong decision. The question is, can Mox hold on? And the answer is no. Quickly given by Max 38, and the carnage just does not end. They're not giving any time on either side here. And I mean, Avail's taking the chaos in stride.
Yeah, look at this. Complete control. Max gonna get another on Vader. It's a 1-on-4. Spurka, good try and save. Look at that, good exit frag. They know where Javo is. We could see maybe an attempted hero play. We are right here. Three Girls gonna swing. No, Javo gonna shut down any sort of attempt. And just like that, it's gonna be 9-6. A 3-round lead by the side of Avail. Keeping this momentum both in economy and mental. With, I mean, you were talking about a cycle of buys and thrifties and like saves, right? This is the cycle, and unfortunately, Avail has Mystic trapped in it.
Yeah, I mean, it was this give and take, but it was reset quite literally by the half swap. Now Avail showing their dominance with the better composition catered to just this. And I mean, this is going to be an important round, right? This is where you can see the double digits on the horizon. And once again, you have this weaker buy, Deagles and Melody on that judge. And because of that, zero fear really coming out here from the attackers, from Avail. And I mean, they're just running into this B side at first. We're trying to fake that, and it in fact has worked for the most part. Now, the heavier stack site, 3 players, they're heading back into Cypher's den, but the question is, can they hold on? Last round they couldn't. Now they have early information, but what will they do with it?
Yeah, look at that cam from Mox. Gave them quite a bit of info, and they're counting that out right now. I'm surprised we haven't seen quite a flank. Mox completely blind, wasn't able to see XVR, and XVR is going to play off that perfectly, taking site control. But Melody, they're in screens, able to take one down, but Max is going to trade them out again. It's going to be a one-man advantage for Avail once again. And Max is going to go ahead and play for this post-plan situation, giving Mystic to just no real place to try and take this retake.
Yeah, no, completely. And I mean, Max 38 continuing their dominance, able to find one as well as aimbot. So Tabernac is left with the Deagle and a Dream. 21 HP, is able to find 2 somehow, but right around the corner is Joe looking to close out and hit double digits for their team. And that's exactly what they'll do.
I mean, you know what, something like neither of us have really, really fully explored is how well Javo is playing this initiator role, alright? 17 assists, but even then a bit of individual play with 7 kills and 10 deaths. That extreme push from Avail, that extremely aggressive push, couldn't have happened without Javo doing that flash, causing Mox not to see XVR push up, and that basically gave them full control of the site once they took down Melody as well, and set them up for that post plant. So Javo playing their support role extremely well.
I mean, even obviously aimbot doing the same, right? They've been there on the other side of the map, and they still get back in time. They still they still provide all the support that their team needs. Either way,
look at this.
It's a pivot. They, for the first time, haven't really followed through on their initial plan, and I'm wondering why.
Yeah, they're trying to maybe go for a little bit of a loud fake. Vader's gonna take down XVR, and Max is gonna take down Melody. And look at everyone is spread across this entire map. Both teams not sure what the other is gonna do next, and neither team really having the lead unless Max wants to bring out the Blade Storm. And look, we're gonna see a confrontation here between Groovy Gorilla and Vader, but neither of them know that each other are here. We're gonna swing, and Vader's gonna get that pick, securing the Heaven control. But it looks like Dravo here is trying to get some support there, and Spike's gonna go down.
Spike down A.
I mean, support is what they asked for, and it's not what they got now, as Tabernac as well, further denying any control over this site. Aimbot now left to collect Spike and clutch the 1v4 situation. As I say, Roomba might not spot them out, and it goes behind somehow, which will allow Vader to collect their 4th, keep their team in it as they start to close this gap without using any real ultimates this day. I mean, they baited out the showstopper from XVR, which was huge, and they'll even have the showstopper and their own Seekers now online for a retake attempt or for an aggression out the gate if they decide to do so.
Yeah, and obviously you have that Viper's Pit as well to force rotation. So if they really wanted to, well, we could. I would actually have Vader go A site so that I can have my Viper pop the ult and then force a rotate to A, where they'll have 2 ultimates ready to meet them. But that's not quite the play they're gonna go for. Instead, maybe ult for mid control instead. And you can tell, even Avail's a bit lost. They don't really want to lose this round because they're placing their Spike back at kind of where they were, so that they can get a pick and then rotate to whichever side works best. And they're kind of doing a similar thing to what we saw Xset do, where they're kind of having to explore with complete mid control.
Yeah, it does look like it's not really... I would say it's more successful in this regard because they're just winning their gunfights. They're not really, I would say, spreading themselves too thin like it was an issue previously. I mean, they've even been able to dismantle the Cypher utility pretty fluidly. And I mean, even just Gorilla's presence is now keeping Melody anchored to this A site with the Cypher, while the real efforts, the real Spike, like you said, is fighting for this mid control, which is being actually delayed by the paint shell.
Yeah, look at this. And actually, it looks like they're going to go push up to vents because they have the info of the paint shell coming from Heaven. And Mox is prepared, though. Look at that. They don't know they're there. Max is going to play directly into Melody, and Mox still has this position as a showstopper comes out to force control off a ramp. And now they're going to be forced to take Heaven with Tabernac and Sparka here on B site. That was actually a really beautiful play from this. And they're still going to have that one-man advantage. Never mind.
I mean, both controllers there being beautiful. Sparka with a near spray transfer, aimbot to recontest, and even to ensure that they can pull themselves onto 11, they're going to invest this Cosmo Divide. They're going to invest this sense of security to try and split up any coordination he might have, but they don't need the coordination that they have a Viper's Pit to do the exact same for them. Now 3v2, obviously in favor of the defenders trying to retake here, but do they know that XVR has wrapped as the Cosmo Divide falls?
Yeah, look at this. Beautiful. I mean, it's just trade after trade. It's gonna be Goofy Gorilla, but they're gonna run out of ammo, and Vader's gonna clutch up that round. A great use of the Viper's Pit there. Actually kind of using it in a way normally the attacker side would, but since they had that so much control of the site, then they were able to use it in that way and allow them to set up for kind of a post-retake plant position, which is something I've never said in my life, but was kind of what they did there.
Yeah, I mean, you're in a 2v3 situation. If you're XVR, you need to get more than one there so that it isn't just a 1-for-1 trade, since you know that you don't have the numbers advantage. And ultimately, like we saw, they were able to get somebody off the Spike, but they weren't able to follow through for the second, mainly because, I don't know why they did, but Tabernac decided to put the pit down. And that's what ultimately, I think, saved them the round, ironically, in my eyes. But either way, 10-8, the gap steadily closing, and you can see the Y isn't the best. Light Shield, even a Bulldog on Dravo for Avail here.
Look at that. Skydog as well, doing very good at delaying this time with all this util, but you gotta think, now Melody only has the regrowth. Vader's gonna take down Max, and that's actually gonna be the only pick, as it's gonna be all quiet once again, and both teams don't really want to move, especially Mystic, as they're gonna have a two-man advantage now, with Avail being kind of forced to at least get one.
I mean, I don't think I've recognized this before, but I think that toxic screen on a Rams being not perfectly flush with the wall has just thrown so much chaos into Avail's executions. Just like now aimbot's throwing chaos onto the B site. They don't have spike, they don't have anything. They're just trying to pull rotations, and so far it's worked. One more player now headed over with a second too. And I mean, you can see Spike now headed over, but I think it's gonna more bite them that it's this late into the round. I mean, they're not gonna have any time to set up for the post plan. And this Nebula is probably gonna fall not too long.
Berka
Don't do it.
doing little out for info there and shaking their head no at the enemy team. And look at that, the spike gonna be initiated onto that site, setting up Avail for a one-man disadvantage, but not the worst for them, especially considering the positions they had. But once again, they're kind of relinquishing this heaven control, and they actually Mystic kind of has him trapped here. Devo tries to swing, Mox takes him down. I mean, Goofy Gorilla is able to get one, but I mean, in a matter of seconds, simply because of another like one-man advantage. It doesn't matter how many people you trade, you're still in the end gonna have that one. And I mean, overall, great plays from Mystic. They were able to trap the enemies there at like that B-site pillar area, and they were able to play off it as well.
Yeah, I mean, last half I praised Team Mystic for their coordination that they were developing throughout the entire half, specifically that one round where Tabernac and Melody were able to swing together in the post plant. And that round, you literally saw one after the other. Javo, then Gorilla, then Aimbot. They each solo swung and lost their 1v1s. And ultimately, they need to be taking these fights together. They need to be not conceding space so easily, not being, I don't want to say overly confident in their abilities, but that's kind of what's been biting them so far. Let's see, though, if aggression, a show of confidence is what they need here. Blasting the range ASI pretty much uncontested other than those trap wires revealing and providing cover for this spray through the Heaven Nebula.
Yeah, and we're gonna see a Viper ult as well come out from Groovy Gorilla to try to maintain control around here. Unfortunately, the spike isn't quite in there though, which could maybe... I'm sorry, what just happened? It doesn't matter what's going on for the ult, as Vader's gonna get 3. It's gonna be Aimbot left to clutch it up, and they're able to get 2. But not much is able to happen, as Mist is going to catch up another round, equalizing this match. I mean, Vader, with individual play, able to get 3 through the Viper ult, and causing Groovy Gorilla's Viper's Pit to kind of backfire.
I mean, that's one way to tie it up at 10-10. Either way, that's definitely a confidence boost, not only being able to tie things back up after coming from behind early into this half, but then even just Vader now pulling ahead on the leaderboard, trying to go for that match MVP away from Max 38 as they even pull themselves hopefully into the lead. But I mean, this is good pacing. This is kind of the rotation that Avail has been playing into. They're not about to go into the econ round. They're in a bye, so they should be able to stop the bleeding now as long as they play their cards right. It's not in their say that's gonna snowball into an OT that they have to fight for. Instead, let's see how they handle this now that they have weapons online, now that they have a clear site they intend to hit, which is B.
It's funny because as you say that, they go ahead and they wanted to do a bit of an aggressive push, but after the dark cover coming out from Spurka there, and they weren't really able to get any sort of control. That was a great smoke from Spurka that didn't really allow them to push out in any way. That's going to cause Avail to rotate to mid, where, I mean, basically all of Mystic is to try and delay, as Mox is going to get that first kill. And after that, Avail, once again, is super lost. They don't have much control, except in mid, where there's going to be a toxic screen to try and delay that control even more.
Yeah, and I mean, it's terrible that Groovy Gorilla was going to fall, because it looked like their plan was to get an A-pinch going through that rotation in vents. So once again, they're climbing up a wall and sliding back down. At this wall might even be the toxic screen here as they make their way into B Heaven, now trying to provide the same sort of pinch with aimbot's contact, which is also being further denied because they haven't addressed Spurka back side, which might be a linchpin, might be what allows them to pull ahead. The chaos, it's 3-3, showstopper for showstopper, and suddenly numbers advantage and the Cosmic Divide out in favor of Avail.
And look at this position by XVR. They weren't able to hear the drop down that well, and never mind, XVR able to get a third. And now it's just Tabernac here in this heaven position. And they're looking at the feed, thinking XBR was still at that drop area, but they weren't. They pushed up, and that's going to be 11 to 10. However, this is kind of like overtime already, because look at this. Mystic still has decent-ish economy to try and buy and get this momentum going for their side. And Vader's actually going to buy an operator on the side of Team Mystics.
I mean, we talked about the support players enabling their duelists, but right now it literally is a battle of the duelists. 4Ks for 4Ks left and right. Now even Vader is going to be picking up the defense side operator for the first time in this game. And let's see if it's able to change anything, change any momentum for this team. It is posted up on ramps, which is where the majority of the forces are kind of gathered here, but that toxic screen might kind of block off the visibility if they play around it right.
I mean, yeah, and that toxic screen, kind of protecting Vader, didn't quite register fast enough that Max actually moved over there. And look at that. The pain shell, though, is going to go ahead and delay them. And actually, that was all a fake. Avail making a ton of noise, trying to get mid-control, but Tabernac's actually going to stop that from happening. And they have to go and get the spike now that's destined for B site, but B site's actually the more stacked site. Melody trading out their gun, using a flashbang as well, and holding straight up in this fence area. Tabernac good for a second. Max taking down Tabernac, and now kind of pinched here. Flash isn't going to connect though, from Spurka, the blind rather. And they're going to have complete B-side control. Melody going to try and contest it, but look at that. The Nebula is going to go ahead and come out.
Yeah, and finally that coordination that I said was missing from Avail coming through. You saw it there in order to get that pick on Hell. Now it leaves Mox in the 1v3 situation. They don't quite know where they are, thinking that they're Heaven, which is one card that could be up their sleeve here, granting them the 1v1s, but they still have to win them. And now, opting to use a spike cam will gather information, but it'll give away that positioning. And yeah, Max is able to capitalize off of it.
Just like that, it's 12 to 10 for Avail. Max in a really good position for that sort of post-plant situation, right? There you go. We're gonna see a timeout come from the side of this Team Mystics, and taking a look at the economy, it's very evident why. With just a Bucky and 2 shares being bought already, not much econ against full rifles, 5 Phantoms, 5 shields. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a very, very aggressive push from Avail here, seeing how they have so much weapon control. Maybe have aimbot lurk, and maybe have Groovy Gorilla also lurk, but they have a lot of control here. When it comes to the gun advantage, that they can do an aggressive push, but they can't overextend, because if we do see shotguns come out from people like Melody, that'll be free guns that they are hand delivering, like they are they're Etsy, and the enemy team bought them off. So
yeah, I mean, obviously this timeout though was taken by Team Mystic to address the issues they've had, and I feel like it's gonna be an uphill battle, right? They gotta win 2 rounds. They're already starting out with an econ buy to try and keep themselves in it, and I think these ultimates can definitely help them out with that. If they use this Viper Spit early, I mean, you saw how much destruction Tabernac was able to bring with just a snake bite. It almost completely dismantled the B Heaven attack there if they hadn't had kind of that aggressive follow-up of players, one funneling in after the other. So if they use a Viper Spit early in the right location, it could do the same exact thing here. For now, though, it does look like they're in the wrong spot here, potentially opting to use it towards the garage side, while Spike is, in fact, headed directly into A. That aggressive push you talked about might be coming to fruition here, Echo. The question is, will they be prepared for a stinger and a judge?
Yeah, look at this, exactly what I said, Mox with that. And look at Vader coming in with that judge as well. Might be able to get actually, the judge coming out with the assist from Mox. That's going to leave it in a man advantage by 2 for Team Mystics, as well as giving their entire team guns. Absolutely huge play, and it leaves Aimbot and Groovy and Gorilla in a very, very bad spot to try and push this up, especially considering that Spike is in the hands of Team Mystics.
Yeah, and they've collected now the weapon upgrades. The players more looking for openings here, not really playing together, not trying to play for any kind of doubled up fights here. Because of that, the one-on-one fight will go in favor of Vader yet again, and Aimbot, no visibility, still going to be able to find one fight out of the toxic screen. They know where the Raze was playing, but they have no other information. And unlike the rest of the team, Vader's willing to take those 1v1s and win them, getting another 4K on the board for their history book. And 12-11, they win the round that I said they had to get the Thrifty on.
Yeah, like I mentioned, I said that Avail had the power to push aggressively, but not overextend. And we saw the shotguns, we saw the stingers come out, and that allowed Team Mystic, they found an opportunity, they found a vulnerability, and they were able to exploit it and get all the guns. And now look at this. It's actually a perfectly even buy with 4 heavy shields on both sides, and 1 light shield on both sides. So this could go either way, but Avail going for a very aggressive push, a very standardized aggressive push. They just did, but they're planned for it. Look at this, Avail with Vader and Mox, and Vader's gonna get the paint shells kill as well, and that's gonna leave it again in a 2 versus 4. Aimbot and Javo here to try and clutch this one up, but this time they do have the spike.
Yeah, that's a good kind of tally in their favor here. But I mean, Cypher Utility spotting that they're isolated here. Finally, not opting to take the hero fights, not opting to take the 1v1s, is trying to group up here with aimbot, but it looks like Tabernac is going to beat them on the rotation to this B site. The question is, how do they handle it? Do they know? Do they know that Sparkle's on their way upstairs? Potentially no, as aimbot will take that one duel that I said they shouldn't. And now ankle's broken in the 1v4 situation. They have a lot to do if they want to not bring this to OT.
Yeah, it's gonna be very hard hero play. They do have the Phantom, but no other use except the regrowth. They're able to get 1 with the wallbang headshot. They're able to get 2 actually. Mox swinging, but Mox is able to be able to shut it down. Javo good for 2, but again, look at this. There'll be another overtime. We'll see if it lasts longer than the 14-12 overtime we saw in X-Set versus Imperium Neo. But overall, this team, once again, very balanced.
I was gonna say, or the 50 plus that finished earlier today.
Yeah,
Either way.
That was a crazy matchup. We didn't stream this match, everybody, but there was a crazy matchup in the group stage before we started streaming that we were actually, or in the playoffs rather, before we started streaming today, that went over 30 rounds. They maxed out the rounds in customs, getting 24-24, and they had to start a new game with more overtime, and ended up, I believe it was 30-28, which is absolutely wild. And you know, I'm not gonna say anything, but maybe we'll see a repeat of that today, Zobi.
Oh my gosh, please don't. We'll have another map after that too. Your casters will be dead. Either way though, like you said, we are in overtime nonetheless. And what's interesting here is that going for the same exact strategy that failed twice in a row for Avail, they are funneling their way into the A side quite successfully, minus the operator taking Spurka out on ramps.
Yeah, look at that. Already taking the site. It's a 4-on-4 though. And hey, this could go either way. It looks like they're trying to push around towards A main, but they're going to get pinched by Mox here if they aren't careful. Which they are actually. Javo good for 2. And they're going to push up off of that. Vader good for another. Javo's kind of in this contested position as Melody takes down Max. It's a 2-on-2, Zobi.
Yeah, they know where the players was playing. Aimbot will get that exchange. They know where Vader is. And although they've clutched time and time again, this time they will fall short. Aimbot good for the peek around the corner. Good for the trade off of Javo. Good for the fuse. Good for the first round in favor of Avail.
Yeah, I mean, what happened there, which is kind of funny, is Avail tried to, Mystic tried to kind of do what Avail had done all the previous rounds, and it actually cost them the round, giving Avail the first round lead. And I think Avail is finally realizing that maybe they shouldn't go for this aggressive A main push, because Team Mystic is always prepared for it. So instead, they're going in for a bit of a default, leaving their spike back and trying to find a pick to then play off of, and at the very least, get some mid control. But this has come back to bite them in previous rounds.
Exactly. So I want to see a change coming out from this attack half from Avail, and that's exactly what it looks like they've done. They've kind of taken a more methodical approach. They've started spread out on the map, started with this defaulted approach, and you can already see that, I mean, Team Mystic was pretty prepared for another exclusive all-in A hit, and that just really hasn't come their way. So now they have to reroute their attention, they have to reroute their utility to find exactly where these players are, but that search may find out that they're everywhere.
Yeah, they're very, very, very spread out. No, I honestly don't think even Avail quite knows exactly what they're gonna do yet because they're still looking for this pick, but Team Mystics is not giving it to them. In fact, they're anchoring more so for I'd say more leaning towards B site, but it's still very, very
30
slow
seconds
push
left.
unless Groovy Gorilla can get a pick there. No, not an A. They're gonna go ahead and have to push B, and we're gonna see that come out right now as Max 38 trying to use their smokes here, but Melody's gonna take down aimbot. Trades are happening everywhere, but Smirka's gonna get a pick here. Good for 2. It's a 1-on-4. Groovy Gorilla left a clutch on the lurk, not able to get there in time to push with their team. 10 seconds left. It's not winnable. Spurka's gonna take him down. We're gonna go into double overtime, 13-13.
I mean, before they even tried to start the side attack attempt, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, all right, they either get Spurka out early, they get the site, and post plant goes in their favor, and we're done here, or Spurka somehow slips through the cracks and goes nuclear. And obviously the latter happened, so we GG go next and restart the cycle of overtime. And it looks like this time, you know, they were a little unsure of how close it was for their execute, so you can see now that Team Mystic is kind of rebounding, is instead opting to go towards the B site, which once again is where this operator has repositioned and lies in waiting.
Good
Good
trade.
for 1, but yeah, exactly. Trade it out now.
Yeah, Melody with a really good trade there on the Phantom headshot. And the operator's on the ground, which could then, if they plant for maybe a garage, they could have a really good post-plant scenario with that op. But in fact, they're not gonna push it. They're not gonna push up and try to grab it. They're actually gonna make a lot of noise there and do a full rotate to A side. It looks like after getting and trading out that one-man disadvantage, which honestly might not be the worst move here, seeing how it is only Javo here left to try and stop this 4-man push.
Yeah, I mean, it was a 1-for-1 duelist trade, but that does mean that the attackers have 0 duelist, having opted for this double controller composition. So even though it's just Javo, they won't have that ability to clear space as easily, unless they just kind of give up the space accidentally, not getting the timing right here, kind of trying to play for that pressure, and instead now forced to blindly spray and back away to play the even retake with the rest of their team.
Yeah, and they have a 2-man lurk as well, but look at this. Tabernac is prepared for both of them. Sees one. I don't even know what's happening. They're using the snake bite to try and delay a bit more. It's going to do a bit of damage, but that does make it so that the man advantage is on the side of Avail. And this could go either way. They have really good post-plant positions, and they have a lot of info as well, especially with that Cypher Cam confirming the 2 positioned. So yeah, this could go definitely either way.
Yeah, and I mean, time's ticking away, but we've seen kind of these favorable situations flip in the blink of an eye, especially when you have these players alive. But it doesn't matter this time. It does look like the 2v1 Seeker's out as well. Will give all the information Melody needs to succeed, and that's a 3K on the board coming in hot to try and step up for their team and close out this game.
Look at that, 13-14. We're gonna go into triple OT, or no, not triple OT.
Oh my goodness.
But if they're able to take this round, Avail, there will be a triple OT. And last time Team Mystics struggled on that attacking side, but this time they were able to take it. And now on defense, they've been striving on this half. So especially because, like we mentioned earlier, we have that Sentinel pick on their side. So they're actually gonna go with that same aggressive A push, and they might fall into the trap that might just be set from them on the side of Avail.
I mean, they were able to dismantle the Cypher setup, but this time it looks like they're not really trying to go for that same objective they did time and time again on the attack. Instead, it was a quick double duelist play into the vents, and it feels like they've completely flipped the map, which will allow them to crunch on to Melody, only allowing them or affording them to get 1 here before losing their life. And I mean, after that, I mean, even though it's only 1 kill from that pressure gain, there's nothing else, really. All that work, all that utility. And, I mean, the furthest you've gotten is this jet into mail.
Yeah, it's definitely, I've noticed time and time again, we see that first point of contact, and it's always first trades. And I think whichever team is able to get a first pick after that, without that first trade, might be the one to take this overtime game to the next level. And look at this. The team slowly rotating towards B, but we still have Vader at this fairly powerful, like, unorthodox heaven position, and as long as Spurka is here, ready to defend Garage, they might be able to get a free pick out of it.
I mean, we've seen Spurka hold on to this time and time again as if they were a Sentinel. Vader now trying to do the same here. Able to eliminate that mid lurk off of Max. That could have been catastrophic. Now providing the crossfire. Spurka needs to succeed.
Ooh.
And that will put Aimbot in a bad situation. Recovering Spike, or trying to, and only 10 seconds left.
Oh,
You might be able
no.
to get the stick, but the rotations are already through. Information collected from the spy cam.
One.
They for one. They
get it!
an 8 HP, they walk away. I don't even know how much time was left, but a 3K clutch to keep them in this tournament.
Someone clip that. Someone clip that and send it to Avail. That was absolutely incredible. Aimbot clutching with under 10 seconds on the clock. It faked the plant, which I thought was going to be risky. They didn't even have that much HP, but they were able to take down 2 and send us into, quadruple overtime now. Absolutely incredible. Max buying that off again, but wow, mental might be pretty low for Team Mystics after losing that clutch scenario. Absolutely fantastic.
I mean, you might have to check their PC to see if they in fact have aimbot after that one, but as we restart this vicious cycle, it's quickly opened up aggressively by Team Mystic, finding both of the duelists on Avail's side, quickly being like, yes, we might have lost that round, but we are still in control of this momentum. And I mean, even Jvo now trying to fight back, won't be able to find anything off that guiding light, is more trying to make sure numbers at least stay somewhat where they are.
Yeah, look at this. After that very aggressive push, Team Mystics getting that 2-man advantage, they're actually going to play much more back. And look at this, Avail hasn't seemed to learn, because they're still here trying to aggressively push, at least Groovy Gorilla is. And that's going to give lots of info, but they're risking their life with an already 2-man disadvantage, which might not be the wisest idea. And honestly, if I was on the side of Team Mystics, I would go for a rotate here. You already have 2 people down, why not rotate towards A site?
Yeah, I mean, I do like that they were trying to play together. They weren't going for those hero 1v5s that we've seen them do time and time again before. And I mean, this control of Garage has now been relinquished, has not only enabled them to start taking the B site uncontested, but it might even enable Mox to get this 1v1 flank pick off of Jvo to further seal the fate here. 10 seconds left, plants going through, and Groovy's trying to stop it, but more just running into their death and putting aimbot in once again the unfavorable clutch situation.
No!
No way.
Good for the wall. Headshot is Spurka, kind of teasing a bit, goes for the out there. Aimbot pushing in a bit more, maybe trying to go for a hero player at least. Just, I mean, there's no reason not to, since we are in that overtime, right? Pushing up a bit more. They might actually go for 2. They don't know Vader there is though, and there you go, 14-15. After an interesting play from Spurka, aimbot tries to clutch it up, but nothing really happens.
We're getting word that Spurka was gonna try and respect a knife fight there with aimbot, but I guess they didn't read into that well enough as they did the rotations that came out from the team. But either way, I mean, it seems like so far, I don't want to say the momentum's in the control of Team Mystic, but that's what it felt like, or has felt like. It feels like they're starting to kind of fall back. They're starting to fall off a little bit. It's more like the rounds that they win are close and they're running out of steam, which is scary because obviously we're in quad overtime, but also this is only the first map.
Oh, you're so right. I mean, we have a whole second map of these teams going back and forth, but let's see. Maybe this will be the round that Team Mystics can finally get us out of this vicious cycle. Spurka once again playing like a sentinel, and look at this sort of divided push we're seeing from Team Avail. Tabernac not really able to delay that much control as we're going in for a bit of an A pinch here on Vader.
Yeah. Question is, will Vader be prepared for it? We've seen them frag huge before. Can they do it again? All the utility really being dumped right on top of them, but they're still fighting for this Vent's control.
Actually, they might be backing out of it. Look at this. Yeah, they're trying to push up, but there's 2 people ready to face them. But we're gonna see the paint shells come out to try and force them off, and this might be B-site complete control, unless you might see a bit of contention as Spurka is still on the site, sneaking around, good for 2. Aimbot's gonna take down Melody, but with 10 HP, they don't have much they can swing it. Spurka's good for a 3rd. Javel's gonna take down Vader, but it's a 2-on-3. Spurka, potential ace on the table. Never mind, Groovy Gorilla's gonna shut that down. 1-on-2 clutch. They need to pull an aimbot if they want to try and secure this. They're good for another. They could take this so far.
Oh my god.
1 versus 2 clutch from Groovy Gorilla 32. We're going into further overtime, 15-15. This is the Project Alliance Stellar Series, everybody.
Parker, why did you curse us? You had to bring up the 50+ round map that happened off stream. Like, oh my goodness. If we go 50, I don't even want to do a second map. Can we just move that map to tomorrow? Make our casters there, do a best of 6? But either way, already chaotic here. Resetting the momentum. Quite literally, hero plays out of almost every player on this team so far on the side of Avail, trying to prevail here in their semifinals matchup. Max in an angle they haven't played yet so far. Tailwind online, trying to wait for the aggression to come out of Team Mystic, which might never come before it expires.
Yeah, it's gonna go ahead and expire because it looks like, once again, Team Mystic's trying to play back, trying to find a pick like they did that first attacking round. And like I said, whoever gets that first pick without trading it out is basically able to take that attacking round. We've seen that a couple of times in this overtime. But yeah, it looks like they're going for a very slow push towards A site from the side of Team Mystics.
Yeah, but I mean, 2 players here ready to play off of each other's contact quite beautifully. Like you said, Javo obviously stacking 19 assists here. Guiding Light out will even award them not only the pick, but the spike dropped. So now you have to venture in if you are Team Mystic to recollect that and reassess where you want to go. I mean, the only saving grace is Javo hasn't reinforced their position here. They've fallen off, they've not overheated, so it gives you time to recollect yourself and rotate. But, I mean, Max 38 has not moved from this off-angle position. So unless you have somebody go from heaven, like Spike is trying to do, they're a sitting duck in waiting to frag out.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be Mox on a box, but it's actually Max on a box, as it looks like Team Mystics already with a 1-man disadvantage is going to try and push it in with Molly, but because of that, look at the trigger discipline. Max is good for 1, but not actually good for any, but Groovy Gorilla's there, ready for some individual play alongside Aimbot, and now it's just Spurka, no time on the clock. It's going to be 16-15 for the side of Avail to try and win this attacking side round. Look at this, so many bullets being exchanged, but overall, Team Mystics waited a bit too long there, and with so much util remaining, Avail rather was able to delay time. And look at this, we're actually going to see our first OT timeout come out from the side of Team Mystics to just discuss what to do, maybe what to change up, to try and keep the OT cycle going.
I mean, I think it's funny that they've kept the timeout for this long, I'm not gonna lie, and I mean, it finally feels like, obviously, that Avail has taken the momentum back in energy with stride, and I mean, now it feels like the ones trailing are obviously Team Mystic. And I mean, Vader, 35 and 24, the highest frag in this lobby, might even hit a 40 bomb before we are done here. Only map 1, and if you are Team Mystic, I feel like you're trying to talk about some of these, I would say, I don't want to say over rotations, but the overcook that they're trying to produce here on their attack. You know, they're knocking on so many different doors and not getting through any of them. And I wonder if they need to just double down and kind of go for the strategy that we've seen Avail do of all into a site gambling. I mean, that might not be this round to do it, specifically since they're on the defense, but on that attack where they finally were shut down, it could be open to what they're discussing.
I 100% agree, because we've seen time and time again throughout this entire match, not just in the OT, that both teams have been just taking some control and not fully committing. But this is gonna be our first fully commit. Look at that, they don't care about the molly, they don't care about the delay, but maybe they should, as Tabernac's good for 1 and Spurka's good for another. And look at Team Mystics able to take down 2. They already have that 2-man advantage. And although Avail tried to go in for a very, very aggressive push, which we were talking about for the side of Team Mystics, it's not actually working too well for them, because, I mean, Spurka and Tabernac both playing off each other's contact perfectly, and now this could go either way.
Yeah. Finally, correct read on the defensive side here. Fully stacked here. and fragging as well. Spurka good for one, not done hunting either. Well, you know, Max, having another day at the beach here in the spy cam. You know, a little commercial break before we cut back to our regularly scheduled programming. But regardless, that pinch is attempting to come through heaven with the spike, and not only will aimbot be awarded one, they are not following through. They instead are headed right in to Cypher's Den, where they quickly could become or could transition from the ad break to the main character of their own story if they can win this round for their team, if they can shut down aimbot here. Let's see if it will come true though.
Whoa! Look at that. The movement, able to jump over that trap layer just a bit. But actually moving that from that position is going to reveal where they are. Mox a bit confused exactly where they're pushing. But aimbot's going to push on completely. And it's just Javo there to try and maintain heaven. It's going to be a complete massacre. Never mind, Javo's able to take down Vader. 2 HP, they're going to swing again. Burka ready here. Javo's good for a second. This is a winnable scenario for them, especially since aimbot could get another. It's a 1-on-2. This could be series point if Melody isn't able to 1-on-2, which we've seen now multiple times. They're going to get caught out. Ulting. And look at this. Javo has no HP, but Melody has 10 bullets, and they whip! Javo, 17-15, gonna take the series point. I mean, what a map! And Zobi, that is our first map!
2 HP and a dream. I mean, aimbot there, time and time clutching up again and falling short, making a simple mistake, trying to use that ultimate, trying to use that cosmic divide that came online to close things out, and instead it allows them to fall, leaving Javo with the unthinkable, and they show the sky difference to end the game, to end the first map, and whew, I mean, I want to remind you guys that right there was Mystic's pick that they have now just barely fallen short on. So now we go to Ascent, a map that both of these teams are undefeated on, 2 wins under their belt apiece. I think we're in for even more of a wild ride.
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams very evenly matched, and something I like to bring up as well is after the first map, although the comps will be different, although the map will be different, you start to learn how the teams play, and I can tell you right now, Avail likes to just do an aggressive, full committed push, and Mystic likes to play a bit slower, and both these teams can think about that going into this next map. But wow, 17-15. I think our players need a break, Zobi. I know we need at least a little bit of a break after such an intense series. With that, we are gonna take a at least 5-minute break. And we'll see you then.
Welcome back, where we just went through one of the longest maps on stream for this event so far, a 1750 on split, where Avail Reserve was able to pull out all the stops and prevail over Team Mystic on their own map pick. Now, I mean, I don't want to say that we're gonna have a 2-0, but I'm excited for Ascent, where we're gonna be going over to Avail Reserve's own pick. But I mean, Echo, both of these teams are undefeated, so what are we expecting for this map?
I think actually, I don't think it'll be quite a shutout because they are 2-0 on both their times playing on this map. So if you're 2-0 on both this map and they're both that good on this map, that makes sense why it wasn't banned by either team. And I'm expecting a very even matchup from both these people, like we saw, or both these teams rather, like we saw on Split. And like I mentioned this before we went to break, Team Mystics and Avail are going to sort of feel out each other's play styles. They're going to start learning what each player likes to fill for that role. And it'll be interesting to see not only how they then react going into this next game, but also if we'll see a bit of role switch up, which might counteract that.
I mean, not only are these maps, like you said, solid and comfortable for these teams, but all the 4 times these individual players have played it, they've been absolute blowouts. I mean, for Team Mystic, it's been 13-2 and 13-1, and for Avail Reserve, it's been 13-2 and 13-6. I mean, when you bring these two teams together, who are so evenly matched on Split, it's like, will it be complete dominance by one of these teams, or will it be just as close, knowing what we know? And you talked about how they might learn how these teams react and play to each other differently, but I mean, we're about to go to a map where mirror comps are 10 times more common, and based on the compositions they've been playing, they are going with that standard meta comp of the double initiator, the KO, the Sova, the Killjoy as your sentinel, and then that Jet on the op and the Omen as your controller. And the fact that it is going to be that mirror comp that we didn't see on Split makes me think that it is going to come down to, even more importantly, how you adjust, how you counteract, how you respond.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot, and you got to think also the mental of both these teams after coming out as such a grueling OT. They're both gonna be a bit more exhausted, so we might see maybe some over aggression or some not as thought out plays, if you will, because they are so exhausted from that first map. But I also want to touch on, if they're 2-0 on both maps, this could go one of two ways. We could see a complete shutout, a complete smash, maybe a 13-0 by one of these teams if they're that strong on it, or it could be extremely evenly matched for both these teams. And like you mentioned, it's going to be a mirror comp, so it's going to come down to, in my opinion, like 3 things: the IGLing, like the comms. It's gonna come out to individual gunplay, and it's gonna come out to well, I guess it kind of like is IGLing, but like thinking of what your opponent's gonna do, and that way you're able to react to it well. Will they flank this time? Are they gonna go for a full push? Will they play aggressive on this econ, or are they gonna play back and hope to get a pick for a gun?
And I do believe that our players are almost ready, so we will be jumping into Agent Select here on Ascent very soon. Although I kind of laid it out for you in what we were predicting, we can see if my psychopathy is correct here in my analysis of these teams and what we will expect. But who knows, maybe we'll see somebody feeling spicy and throw out a Yaru or something. But for now, as the lock-ins come through, it does look like my predictions have been correct so far, although there have been some of those role swaps that we talked about. I mean, when you're running different compositions, you are going to be forced to have some of those adjustments, and so far it does look like our Viper players are the ones that I was going to say might be going over the Killjoy. I mean, Groovy Gorilla has for sure, but Tabernax can be that KO, and looks like Mox will be reprising their role from the Cypher, maybe on the Killjoy.
Yeah, we'll probably see. Yep, there you go. So we are gonna see that mirror comp. So yeah, just like we touched on, it's gonna come down to the individual play, or if it gets like down to like the real nitty gritty, it could come down to something as simple as one person does a lineup that the other team isn't expecting, or maybe they know a lineup that the other team wasn't prepared for. So this could definitely go either way, depending on how much knowledge both teams have of each other, and more importantly, of how they play themselves. Because this is the match that we're going to see individual play take a much bigger role than last time.
I mean, even just beyond individual play, just mentality and keeping your energy levels up, especially after that 17-15 monster of a first map. And I mean, I think we saw Prime and Center, Team Mystic started to run out of steam on just that map alone. So now after that quick 5-minute break, can they repivot? Can they regain their grounds and come out in stride to bring us through a third map? And then can they close it out on said third map? Either way though, the stage is set, the agents are locked, and we are jumping into our map 2 of the Project Alliance Stellar Series semifinals. And I'm personally just excited to see if it is, like we said, going to be just as close or if it's going to be a total wipeout.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those that that could go either way, and I am very, very excited. We're also I want to point out, we're seeing Groovy Gorilla moving from more like you said, less of a control role and more into that sentinel role with aimbot and Spurka. Once again, Spurka on that Omen pick. But seeing how, once again, we're seeing Team Mystics on that defending side, I want to see if Spurka plays similar to what they did last time, where they were acting more like a sentinel, kind of almost solo holding sometimes, or if they want to play more with their team, more supportive with Vader, which it looks like they might be doing on A site. Maybe with the common one-way smoke we see on A main a lot. It could go either way, but yeah, it's definitely going to come down to individual play and the strategies that these two teams are going to pull out.
I mean, it's talking about strategy early out the gate. It's a triple util usage just to get information to deny any initial aggression all out of B main. But on the other side of the map, it does look like our attackers are venturing down catwalk, venturing to brave this dark cover on tree, trying to provide for a double pinch, which might even work because these two players are so deep in main on the defensive side. How do XVR, how do Max 38 contest this? Will they in time?
Oh my goodness, Vader pushing in, taking down Javo, and aimbot taking down Vader and Max as well, taking down Spurka. It's gonna be a 2-on-3, a 1-on-3 left for Mox to try and clutch this up with the Killjoy lock. Mox able to take down Max, playing from this tree area. And now they know at least where one is. They're gonna push out, and aimbot's gonna get that first pistol round. We're already seeing some very unorthodox plays, especially for a pistol round, for a tree push, and a little bit of a slip up there from Team Mystics being pushed in so far in the main.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a solid attempted response, because then if they were able to dismantle one side of the pinch, they would have been able to escape, maybe rewrap, maybe wait for the rest of their team to come through. Then ultimately they lost the fights, and then the pressure from tree dissolved, and I mean, it was history in the first round on the boards. Now you come into this round, pretty much a full buy, minus, we're seeing a force actually coming out from Melody on the Silva with that Ares, which would be interesting here, especially considering 3 members are trying, I was gonna say 3, now 2, are trying to play once again a pretty aggressive on this peek out A off of this one way.
Yeah, look at this. Playing very slow back. I want to point out Melody does have that Ares playing for that B main, which I'm not very surprised by. And they don't want to give their guns, right? Avail wants to keep this gun lead they have. Because of that, they're going to get that info, and Max might actually swing, or they're just going to wait for that Shadow Orb to go down, and here we go. We're going to see this point of contact right here.
Ooh.
And look at that. Look at the amount of picks.
Yeah, I mean, the high-low game obviously going in favor of Avail, and they will take this site pretty much uncontested, other than the suppression out of tree. Max 38 being that rifle force we've seen time and time again, will fight for having control, but it gets immediately shut down and dropped. And suddenly, the person with the Ares who bought up Melody left in the 1v3 and about to be double swung off of a flash drive.
Yeah, I mean, Melody trying to force there, but it wasn't really what they could do, and that's going to leave their econ for this round even more destroyed than how it normally would be. Look at Melody really not, after buying util and shield, they're not going to have really anything to use here. But here we go. We're going to see some light shields, we're going to see some heavy shields from both teams, and it looks like they're going to go for more of a B main push. And because Melody has that recon and Mox trying to deny with that nanoswarm, we might see a lot of delay with that Ares trying to spray through and get some wall bang.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons why Sova and the Odins are abused so much on this map. A few rounds off from some Odin usage, but either way, no real early aggression out the gate this time. Yet again, coming out from Avail, they're waiting for any mistakes Team Mystic might make because they are tired, because they want things to end. And just like that, the story line unfolds, and first blood draw, but the Ares is chipping away at the rest of the attackers here, evening things back out to a steady 3v3.
Yeah, Mox here, the only one really to contest the site, but they're all gonna push the sort of catwalk area, and Mox is actually good for one, making it a 3-on-2, which isn't bad. Now they're gonna have to stick this spike, and we're gonna get a very pinched maneuver with XBR not even really able to get that spike down quite yet. This is gonna allow the defensive side to have a really easy retake. Look at all the util, the nanostorms coming out from Javo, making Javo 7 HP, able to get one on Mox. It's a 2-on-2.
I'm surprised they were able to narrowly avoid the perimeter of that swarm grenade, able to get one more and still alive and kicking with the rest of their team. But because they're so low on HP, because they don't know when these players are going to push out, they're trying to delay this plant. Now it goes out as the Sova utility comes back up to ensure they can't push out. But, I mean, Tabernacle will quickly capitalize off of that plant. And now the 7 HP Javo left to clutch the 1v2, where both players pretty healthy, pretty much going to walk away with their rifles in hand. And although it's a messy one, they get their first round on the board from their bye.
Yeah, they lost a lot of econ from that, but it was good that they were able to take at least one round there, because at those first 2 wins after Avail won that pistol round, they're obviously expected to take that bonus, but now they're gonna have kind of split buy from both sides. And I take that back. Avail's gonna have a much more secure buy. They're gonna have a lot more guns than Team Mystics is.
Yeah. And that's exactly what we saw time and time again on Split, whether it was the first half where it was that kind of hand and foot cycle, or the second half where, you know, I mean, Avail had run away with the economy game. Now, though, like you said, pretty even. We have some rifle hero buys coming out from Team Mystic versus the healthy rifles other than the Bleedstorm Max 38 has opted for on the attacker's side. And, I mean, I feel like if you're looking at it, Avail really hasn't changed much. They've started out the gate low, they've kind of followed through on where they've found a weak point, and they've punished over aggression, which is exactly what they're going to do again. Aimbot providing that high-low coverage with XBR main, and Mox will finally be able to fight back. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Mox good for 2, Invader good for 1, and that actually gives the numbers advantage at least in the hands of, never mind, it's gonna be a 2-on-2, and now a 1-on-2, once again, Melody with a judge to try and clutch this one up. Not ideal, especially since Aimbot was just able to use from the shadows to get the spike, and now they have complete A site control. Honestly, we might just see Melody get a gun and save this round.
Yeah, I mean, was a little bit of a bonus. Like we said, only a few rifles to bring in after losing so much on their force up that they should have been able to get more out of. But I mean, you said they might save, but it looks like a 2v1 favorable in their eyes. I mean, they will have to break a door or, you know, figure out a way to get through heaven, but they have the recon bolt, they have the shock dart, they have the potential information that they need, but they use it towards main, so nothing will be received. I would love to see a ninja defuse here, but it doesn't look like they're gonna push out or peek it at all. They're granted the 1v1, but this one way will afford Aimbot all they need off of the paranoia, a 3K to further establish their lead in this map.
Yeah, I mean, they're able to get at least 1 round Team Mystics there, but once again, they're at a 2-round disadvantage after Avail able to just take that round. Off of this, though, Team Mystics trying to force again, and they have still a very fractured buy. If I was Team Mystics, I would honestly just take one of these rounds to save, but no, they're gonna do 3 Vandals, an Ares, and an off. They really should save because a divided economy is not good, especially when you're down this many rounds.
And because they know they have the better weapons here, they are taking A site by Storm, not giving any opportunity for Vader to use this operator. They're going to arrive to the site pretty late. They are going to challenge it. And Max 38 will walk away victorious. Spurka as well, looking to be the next victim to add to Avail. The list here dropped down to a lifeline forced to retreat to the comfort of their team in tree. And the shock dart coming through to try and finish them off. Barely will not connect.
Yeah, look at this. We're going to see the defender Jojo come out as well from Mox to try and force him to push up. And it's going to work as Spurka is good for 1. It's a 2-on-3. This is much more winnable than it was They're trying to wallbang the ult, but it's not going to work. And that's going to give the defender side complete site control. Now the other side has to play much more aggressive. Aimbot trying to fake a TP. Javo's going to get the first on Melody. But look at that. It's a ninja defuse. They're not faking. It's going to be a 2-on-3. Clutch miraculously from Mox.
Mox giving me what I wanted out of Melody last round, but I think the biggest thing there is just the fact that it was such a close round. I mean, both teams, their economy essentially kept in check. Obviously, even though Mox wins the round, I mean, they're still forced to deagles considering they died right after the fact, and that operator is handed over, even though they lost, to the attackers here, to Max 38, where we know that attack op is pretty dominant on Ascent, showing that right out the gate as Vader with, I believe it was the Blade Storm, is taken out of the picture.
Yeah, and look at that, an off wallbang as well on Tabernacle, makes him 24 HP. The shock dart from Javo is going to finish them off as well, and that already leaves Team Mystics once again at a 2-man disadvantage with just 3 sheriffs to try and clutch it up. We're going to need to see some hero play from Melody, but that's not going to happen, especially considering Groovy Gorilla has that Vandal, and they're going to take B-site control like it's nothing, like it's taking candy from a baby.
Yeah, and I mean, a 2v5 situation, and you have insurance policy ultimates. And I think that's why we're seeing a little bit of hesitancy, trying to see what they can get before attempting this retake. Mox narrowly avoiding the recon bolt, which would have spelled even more disaster, knowing where their position is. But they're split up here. Spurka and Mox each exploring separate avenues. They will be able to rob the operator away potentially, unless it can get recovered. I mean, if I were them, I would grab it and run like a thief in the night and throw it off the map, but they're a long way away from that. Literally a firing squad, a 145, devastating as they're dropped to 9 HP, and you know, Groovy Gorilla doesn't want them to finish them off.
Yeah, Spurka is going to go ahead and get a Vandal, and not the worst thing to see. But I actually really quick want to circle back the round before that Spurka won with that ninja defuse from Mox, because we were talking about very unique strategies, and there was one that I don't know if you caught it, because I wasn't sure if it was a misplay or a next level strategy, but Melody popped the Hunter's Fury and actually ulted on Spurka and then ulted near Spurka, so that if it was a next level strategy,
can't swing, yeah.
Yeah, it was to make it so that they couldn't swing, and it was actually really smart, and it also made it so that they might not suspect Spurka to be there, because who would ult their teammate, and that actually allowed them to keep that tree control. It was absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
Looks like for the first time, though, in a while at least, Avail is trying to contest this B main pretty early on, using that operator off of Max 38. It will get denied, though, pretty early out the gate, while once again, Aimbot and XVR are prodding with this high-low game around the one way. This time, Spurka looks like they're learning the lesson, not trying to give away the tracers that would lead to their eventual demise. And you can see here, I mean, Melody and Max trading wallbang shots, quite literally Russian roulette here. While, like I said, Aimbot connects yet again, time and time again, winning that fight out. I don't think they've lost it once.
Yeah, and once again, it's just, like you said, it's traded out, and they're still going to maintain that one-man advantage, as Avail's going to try and push. And look at this, a 2-tree, 2-main split. The flash is coming out as well, very supportive, as XVR is going to take down Vader. Now it's going to be a 2-on-4 with site control in Avail's hands.
Yeah, I mean, even checking the extremities here, Max 38 left to watch that, and you got, I mean, it's going to be a tree pinch coming through. They don't clear the right corner, and Mox is left in a 1v3. Somehow does get the target swap out of the off, still searching for more, but Aimbot will finally stop the leading, clench the round like they are known to do, time and time again, pulling their team onto 5.
Yeah, Aimbot it's playing extremely well here. In general, like I said, we're gonna see a lot of individual play shine, and once again, we're seeing Mystics here trying to force a buy. I really think they should either call a timeout and discuss strategies, or take a full save, because right now they're in this vicious cycle where they try to force a buy, they go down, then they're forced on an econ, and it's just keeping this 2-round lead, if not more, for Avail. Yeah,
I mean, Team Mystic here, though, even though they're on a weaker buy, do have 3 powerful ultimates online, especially valuable as retake tools, Null Command, Lockdown. If they can get them into place, I mean, we've seen Moxes fall short a little bit when they get pressured by the attackers here. And for once, Gorilla, actually the center of the focus here, trying to push out on their lone summon and will get punished as a result. They're not able to collect the weapon upgrade though, because they know that Javo is waiting to get that trade for their teammate. On the other side of the map though, knowing that that pressure from the B side has been eliminated, are instead pivoting towards A. And it looks like this has finally been read by not only Mox, but the rest of the team, rotating 4 players on A. And look who's finally left scrambling potentially.
Yeah, look at this. Avail down 2 members, and their offer down by the hands of Mox with a nice clean 1-tap. They're gonna maybe try and go to recover that operator, but Mox seems to know that. Aimbot as well, trying to spray through to Spurka. And they have decent positioning right now. But no, from the shadows are going to give a lot of info, and they're just going to get completely delayed by the nanos from them. It's going to force them to push up towards A site. There's so much utility being exchanged here. Vader hiding behind this gen with the classic. If they do it right, they might be able to get one. No, Javo's going to take down Vader. Spurka's going to trade it out though, but XBR is going to trade Spurka. They still have a 1-man advantage, 13 seconds on the clock. They might be able to get a gun here and clutch it up with Melody finally rotating. Tabernacle able to take down aimbot. XVR though able to spray them down. Just like that, it's going to be a 1 versus 2 with XVR playing for main.
Yeah, I mean, that lockdown coming in as an insurance policy cashed in does force them off the angle. It is planted for them. The wall bangs aren't in their favor. Mox is sticking it, forced off the angle, not trusting in their teammate, but they're out of options, out of bullets. And finally, a read correct in the favor of Team Mystic, and they will pull a Thrifty out to stop the bleeding, to bring things to 3-5, close the gap to 2 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really good round for them that they needed. And look at this, they might be able to buy fully. Yeah, because Spurka could get a buy from Vader there. Worst case scenario, if they don't have the money after they buy utility and heavy. And we're finally seeing a little bit of a reversal of fortune here, right? Now Avail left a very divided buy with the only actual gun they have being aimbot with that Guardian. So we should be able to see a 4-5 slow catch up here from Team Mystic.
And look what's coming out. I said it earlier. The Ares has been upgraded to that Odin for Melody, but the Blazestorm quickly gonna dash over it, evading it or delaying the inevitable for now. No, they will take it out of the equation. Derivative out, no longer a factor here. They've taken sight even on their Thrifty, led in full stride by Max 38. And even the lockdown now. All the stops, all the ultimates coming out here, and Sparko will fall as a result, thinking the Hunter Fury was going to destroy the lockdown, but it doesn't even do that. And just like that, layers upon layers and a counter Thrifty to pull back the advantage, pull back the weapons. And I mean, look, that operator, that Odin, had been handed over to the dark side.
Wow, a flawless Thrifty. Absolutely just incredible, right? That was, I don't even... So much utility used, so many ults, and that shows that even with such a large weapon disadvantage, ults can be so pivotal, like we just saw right there with the Killjoy lockdown, with XBR popping the KO ult, right? So much util, just completely restricting any hope of Mystic trying to get one. And aimbot's gonna go ahead and take down Spurka right there on A main, and this is looking like another round in the hands of Avail.
Yeah, I mean, they did a good job at least of denying initial aggression in terms of kind of like letting Spike kind of mull over and spawn. But now that they know they've gotten one out of the A site, the follow-up is just as powerful. I mean, the Spike is a little bit late. They're setting their own pace. They are not too worried about the clock. They aren't too worried about getting plant down. They know also, I guess, that there's some utility, some lineups, some Hunter's Furies on the line. So baiting those out, going back to business as usual, going back to this 5v4 retake. And I mean, now the post-wins are established. The question is, do you win your gunfights?
I guess that question will be answered here, as it looks like Avail setting up for a very good post-plant situation. We're gonna see that recon dart come out, give a lot of info. But despite it, Max is good for 2 with that flashbang coming out from XVR. Ro's gonna spray down, Vader's able to get it, but look to their left. They get 2, but no, Max is able to shut it down, making it 3-7.
You know, I always thought we were about to see the remnants of the almost 40 bomb Vader from Split, but they fall short there a little bit. So a lead, at least in their attack cap, confirmed here for Avail. 7-3. They now have the null command online. They have the weapons, but I mean, that was a save round from Team Mystic. So they now have their own buy-in. Yes, some light shields per se, but all rifles and Vader back on the operator.
Yeah, look at this. Overall, I mean, if we have Vader on the operator, look at this angle they're holding. There's going to be a lot of mid control, but honestly, that shouldn't be their focus this round, because look at the huge A aggressive push that only Spurka here is going to have to defend, reminiscent of Split. They're going to use a shotgun, and they're all going to swing, and Javo's also going to take down Vader through the smoke. It's going to be another 5 versus 3 with only XPR going down, but they're going to be able to get res here as Max 38 ready here at Heaven to take him down.
Yeah, I mean, that was just unfortunate there. Sparkle being the first to fall and on the site, control conceded, and now being firmly grasped by Max 38, only temporarily, as now the pressure comes in, the pinch from Tabernac and Mox, each starting to dismantle this hold, bring the chances back in their favor if it weren't for Javo with the Odin spam.
Yeah, now it's Tabernac, let them push it up. They have a suspicion that one is Hell, but Aimbot is there, ready to take them down. I really think we need a PC check because Aimbot 14-3 right now.
The aimbot, guys.
Yeah.
They're telling us right in our face, and we're just not accepting it.
yeah, it's genius, really. If I just tell you that I have aimbot, they won't check if I have aimbot, right?
Of course. Either way, though, 8-3. I mean, I know chat has said that the caster shouldn't curse it, but I mean, one more round and we might have a 9-3 case on our hands here. And I mean, with the way things are going, I mean, they're back to this econ buy. Only Tabernac with a rifle, the rest for the cheese weapons, Bulldog, Ares, Judge, you name it, they have it. Everything but the kitchen sink in their buy of Arsenal. Either way, though, Blazestorm as well online to try and at least somewhat equate things. We know Vader can use it. Question is, will Max 38 be able to shut them down with the operator posted up here on mid?
Yeah, I was gonna say, ironically, last round they had a ton of mid control and no A control, and now the opposite's happening, and it's just right here. They sneak through mid, taking complete control and allowing themselves open rotates to just get a pick and take that site very easily. But on the flip side, Team Mystics not really giving up their position. They're staying anchored. They're not giving up site control. And that's exactly what they need to do in this situation where Vader is ready for Max, and Max takes him down though, as Tabernac is able to trade it out, and that leaves it at a 4-on-4 scenario.
Yeah, literally, same timing, 1v1. And I agree, the fluidity here from Avail has been so solid, and they aren't letting anything slip through their cracks. I was about to say, just like Spurka, about to be cleared by and wine by Javo, but instead it's the aimbot to come through and save the day as they funnel their way onto site, taking out all those who oppose them, including Tabernac and Melody. So once again, Mox 1v4 situation is able to get a weapon upgrade, and knowing this is the last round, they have to go for it.
Yeah, it's just Mox here left, trying to throw down maybe their killjoy turret, try and at least get one. They saw, but no. XBR is able to take down Mox. But guys, it was a tactical loss. You know why? Because we have a 9-3 curse.
Oh my goodness, for real. That's what they were hoping for here. That is what they have now secured. And I mean, I'm a believer in the 9-3 curse. I think that's something I bring up every time I see it. But like I said, now that the sides have swapped, it is a time for a dynamic shift. I mean, obviously it looked like, you know, Team Mystic was never quite able to crack that rotation from B through tree into that A pinch. And now they don't have to worry about that anymore. Now they have to come up with their own strategies, their own perceptions, their own plans in order to crack the defense. And it looks like while they're hanging out towards B, that's the incorrect read. I mean, they have 3 players from Avail stacked towards that side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, we said we needed some unorthodox strategies, so what's better than just having a curse take the wheel? And here we go, we're gonna see Vader and friends try to take immediate mid control, very aggressive, as they're gonna go ahead and pinch towards B here. And it looks like there's no one really to contest them except that defender spawn that smoked off. Vader pushing up, but Max 38 is here. Melody's gonna go down with Spike, but it's gonna get traded out by Tabernac and Vader, but that's gonna get traded as well. And it's trade after trade, it's a 2-on-2, 2-on-1, and it's a 4K for Max, a potential ace for the side of Avail.
How is this man alive? Either way, Max 38 solidifies the hold on the Spike. Tabernacle shredded by the shock darts. Literally, Javo being like, hey, I'll get them low. You finish them off when they go for the spike. They're even avoiding the fights here. They're full HP. They are the bond waiting to be cashed while they allow their teammate to clutch. Let's just see if they can finish it off, if they can get their time in the limelight yet again. They are going to be back to the 1v1, which drops them even lower to 15 HP. So it'll be, you know, a 4K for a 4K if Tabernacle is able to clutch, but Max 38, pride on the line, you know, double digits on the line. And it's just silence. They're hunting, suppression out, but I don't even think they need it at this point.
Max 38 waiting here. Tabernacle 15 HP. Gonna go ahead and swing. And obviously, it's gonna be an ace from Max 38 on pistol round. 3-10, maintaining a 7-round differential. But Zobi, I don't know if you've ever heard this. If you're gonna 9-3 curse, you have to lose the pistol round.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is looking pretty solid so far, but I mean, I wonder if we're going to see a force up. That's my question here. Tabernacle already kind of baiting us into it by buying the Spectre, maybe selling it, maybe like, do we gamble in? Do we buy in here? Or do we go for the thrifty? And so far, it looks like the answer is a double deagle, maybe triple deagle, maybe quad deagle approach here. Obviously, Spurka going for that util buy to support the team, but they aren't really straying too much from this B site, which scares me because Javo, we saw them once the Odin was handed over, go nuclear, and they have the Ares already early on here, and they've saved the recon bolt late.
Yeah, look at this. Mox is gonna get pinged out by that recon dart as well. And look at that! There's the recon dart. Javo is gonna spray through on Mox as Groovy Gorilla is gonna go ahead and push out with the Shadow Orb, covering them. But Melody with a headshot, able to take him down a little bit of the underdog Sova.
Oh no! Oh. XVR, the long-range stinger, even though they spot out 2 players, not at all what they are hoping for. And suddenly, you know, Melody left in the 1v2 with only a deagle to their name. No real weapons on their route to A, but it will be uncontested unless the aimbot can make it their way there first. So that will be at least hopefully some plant money, unless they decide to plant out in the open.
Oh.
No, okay.
Melody playing very aggressive, which they kind of need to, so they can get that gun. The crosshair placement was there, but aimbot able to take them down, and it's gonna be a very forced buy going into this next round from Team Mystics, and they really need to take this round. They need to stop the momentum we've seen for so many rounds on the side of Avail, and they need to be able to just win some guns, win some gun fights, and make it 4-11 at least.
Yeah, I mean, this is the round to do it, right? You got only 2 players walking away with their weapons, and that was a Vandal and a Spectre. So now you should have full rifle buys going into this. This is your opportunity. Just to make sure that you don't kind of slip up. You don't give 1v1s over. You don't give them the opportunity to capitalize on the few weapons that they have to bring in from the previous round.
Once again, we're seeing Melody on the areas. Lots of Vandals, and that was a pretty good spray, although it didn't quite connect the aimbot, but it's gonna force them out. And Sparka's actually gonna get the first kill on Max, but Groovy Gorilla's gonna get traded out, and it's trade after trade, but it's actually gonna end up with Team Mystics getting this 1-man lead, as well as having 2 Vandals and an Ares. And look at that, the recon dart's gonna ping out XVR, they're gonna get a gun, they're gonna swing, and nothing's gonna connect. Tabernacle is gonna take them down, as it looks like they're gonna go ahead and rotate towards A site.
Yeah, I mean, that's a smart decision here. They need the round. They don't want to take any chances. And I mean, Javo has definitely had some impactful moments here and there, especially on the last map, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to make something of this. But 3v1, spike down, I don't think they're going to give you any fights if they don't have to, because this is a round they cannot lose.
Yeah, just to confirm they know where they're coming from, they're going to go ahead and use that zone. It's going to reveal exactly where they are. And that was a really good post plan. Obviously, it's expected they take it, but the part that matters is the fact that no one else went down. So now they should maybe be able to help their team out and get some more guns on the table. But on the flip side, we're seeing another forced buy from Avail, with Javo upgrading from that Ares to that Odin, and they're probably going to hold B main. So it'll be smartest to probably go A this round, or maybe take mid control, because we haven't seen that in quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, obviously their gamble wouldn't be at all in, considering they have a bigger pot, they have a bigger kind of resource to pull through, considering there are 7 rounds ahead. And I mean, Devo's trying to make some action with the Odin, but they're more concerned about the incoming utility. In the meantime, though, Max 38 is going to be able to find and prove yet again that they are the superior duelist, the superior jet player here in this lobby. As a result, though, they're going to further explore the same place that their teammate has passed away. In the meantime, though, mid-exploration fully underway for Team Mystic and not really getting them anywhere other than tree right into where Max 38 is lurking.
Oh, Spurka needs to take down Max 38 here to tie it up. The man's disadvantage at least. Spurka's playing pretty smart here. They unfortunately don't have a flash, but they play with their team right. They should be able to win A site control. Then that grenade right there is gonna just delay a bit longer. And yeah, they're gonna take tree control, but they still haven't cleared. Spurka has no idea how close they sprayed. They're able to trade out Max, though. They still have a one-man disadvantage. They need to take one. Spurka's good for one. Spurka is good for two. It's a 2-on-2. The Silver Drone's gonna reveal exactly where they are, but the spike is still down at tree, and Spurka knows that in this 1 versus 2, they're gonna have to pick it up.
Yeah, only 6 bullets. 20 seconds and counting left on the clock. They're gonna use the ultimate probably to recover it. They realize though exactly where they were ulting from, where they had to have planted, and the wall bang reigns true from Groovy Gorilla. And that's a match point on map 2, a series point even considered. And they are 1 step away from punching their ticket to the grand finals.
Yeah, it's very, very intense. Both teams, I mean, on the verge of victory here. It's definitely it's not looking good. I'm not gonna lie if you're a Team Mystics fan, but if we see some individual play, if we see some too early kills like we saw last map, maybe they'll be able to put something together. But it's not looking good to start off this round.
I mean, we talked about it. Both of these teams have been fairly dominant on this map, and it looks like the dominance from Avail is trying to continue right at the gate, trying to end this swiftly for all of us here, casters, players, viewers alike. They'll get the first blood granted again. That's one stat I cannot wait to see. But for now, because of the focus on a main, they somehow have lacked in the tree temporarily until Max 38 comes in, and the Guardian for Guardian trade is there, and suddenly Mox, weight of the world on their shoulders. 1v3 situation, and they try to pull out the nade at just the wrong time. And of course, who else to finish it out than the Killjoy for Killjoy, and I guess the Jet getting credit for the KO kill.
Yeah, I mean, we said it was gonna go one way or the other. It was gonna be
Yeah.
a shout out, or a shutout rather, or it was gonna be a even matchup, and that looks like pretty much a shutout for Avail there. Team Mystics fighting for their spot, and they're actually going to be playing in grands tomorrow against whoever wins I Got Mine White versus X set.
It was X set. Yes.
Yeah, oh yeah. So it's gonna be like the 2 potential best teams of today playing against each other in grand finals, which you'll actually be able to see tomorrow. But overall, it just Max 24-14, aimbot 19-7 with 10 assists. A great individual play and also great team play.
I mean, okay, yes, we jumped into what tomorrow holds at 2 p.m., you know, EST, 5 p.m., or EST, of course, which you guys should stop by and see, you know, at twitch.tv/Alliance Tourneys. But I do want to spend the time analyzing this match. I mean, we went from a 17-15 to a 13-4, just as dominant as this team was against other people. And I think we saw the exact reason for that is Max 38, not only, like you said, the KDA being a factor, but they had 9 first bloods. The next closest was Aimbot with 2, and they're on their same team. And I mean, they didn't even pick up the operator in their own right. They only picked it up when Vader was dropping it. And that's another thing. Vader was so strong, so confident on the Rays, and once they became that solo duelist and didn't have, you know, the rest of their team to rely on, that's, I think, when it started to fall short a little bit.
Yeah, a continuing problem for Team Mystics was that very issue you just talked about, those first bloods. You lose that first member on your team, you're down 1, now it's a 4-on-5, but the worst part was they were never able to trade it. And that was a mix of a little bit of misplay from Team Mystics because they didn't try, they may have tried to trade it in any way, but Avail was very smart on that. You just mentioned They had
Mhm.
one player had 9 first bloods. Well, that was because they would push in, they would get that first blood, and
Yeah.
then they wouldn't overextend. They played back. They didn't overextend. They didn't push in any way. And with that, they knew they had that advantage. And then after that, I mean, a 4-on-5 is hard for any team to try and
Mhm.
compete in. So when losing that first member instantly is a huge misplay and a huge gain for the side of Avail.
Yeah, and I mean, like we said, amazing series for our semifinals coverage. And like I said, you can stop by tomorrow for the grand finals to see who will claim that first place part of the prize pool sponsored by, I believe it's Super Beings or Super Gaming Lab. Love their mouse pads. That's all I know. And either way, it's been a pleasure casting with you again, Echo. And I mean, although this is my end of my Stellar Series run with you all, it's been a pleasure yet again. And I don't know, are you casting tomorrow, Echo?
I am. I'll be
There you
casting the
go.
grand finals tomorrow with Geo. So make sure to tune in. I'm excited. I'm sure. Maybe Zobi will also be tuning in from their hotel
I'll
room.
try.
They'll try. From the green screen hotel room. But I think that's all from us. Unless Zobi. Actually, there's actually one thing I want to say. I want to shout out our production today. Josue, our producer, coming in and bringing all this stuff together, and of course, my good friend, Zovi's good friend, Cloud Me on the observing. Just a great, overall great observer. And of course, I'm a big fan actually of Zobi. So it's always
Oh
a pleasure
no.
to cast with you, Zobi. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, thank you. But that is all for us tonight. That is all for the semifinals and quarterfinals coverage for Alliance Stellar Series, and we will see you tomorrow for grand finals.
See ya.